Hi, everyone, and welcome. My name is Coach Ang, and I want to officially welcome you to this app, Increasing Consciousness and Coaching with Ang. And I am so excited to be able to offer this to you and to bring many, many different things to you via this app, whether it's meditations, courses, challenges, worksheets, journals, whatever it is that you came to the app for. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you for taking the time and for having the interest in bettering yourself, whether it is through your consciousness practices or learning and exploring a little bit more about some of my content areas. A little bit about me and my background is I have worked primarily in the violence prevention field for about the last 15 years. And I have also been a big proponent of primary prevention and making the connection between things like consciousness practices, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and other forms of harassment and discrimination and how they relate to violence prevention. You will also hear me talk quite a bit about leadership. It's another one of my content pillars, and more specifically, how does leadership relate to all of those things that I just talked about? And so if you follow me on social media or YouTube or any other channel, you will see those 4 content areas in which I talk about consciousness, diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, violence prevention, and leadership. Now, these 4 content areas align with my academic expertise and my actual physical background in regards to the work that I have done, the teams that I have advised, and the organizations that I have worked with. I'll go ahead and start by sharing a little bit about my academic degrees. And so I've got a few different degrees. One in criminal justice, one in social work, one in human relations and organization development, as well as executive leadership. And I am currently working on my PhD in international leadership. And so all of those content areas, I am familiar with the academic theory and practical guidelines and expertise that comes along with that. And then, of course, I've also got the practical experience of advising leaders at different organizations and at different levels of the organization to help them to understand why I talk so much about consciousness, why I talk so much about diversity, equity, and inclusion, and leadership as it relates to violence prevention. And while most of my work has been in the violence prevention arena, I also have an extensive background advising leaders specifically on leadership development programming, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and consciousness practices. And a big component about why I have so many different degrees in different areas is because I believe very strongly in a transdisciplinary approach to the work that we do, which basically just means I believe that we need to have multiple sources of input in regards to understanding and implementing the work that we do. And so it is about having a holistic perspective to any problem that we have, looking at it from multiple angles and ensuring that we are looking at it from a systemic perspective as well as from the individual level. And so I talk a lot in my work about the social ecological model and the different levels of that model, which is individual, relational, community, and societal, and specifically how systems theory impacts the work that I do in leadership, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and violence prevention. And my mission in the world is to elevate the human consciousness across the globe through leaders, because leaders are the foundational level of learning and growing, right? When we are in organizations or when we are in companies that are doing positive and meaningful change, we always look to our leadership as role models. And so the work that I do works with those leaders to help them to understand the influence that they have as leaders and to help them to embody consciousness practices that will help them with their emotional intelligence, their social intelligence, and their systems intelligence so that they can be that positive influence not only in their interpersonal relationships or interactions with others, but for their self, in their thoughts, and in their hearts. And so that is what I consider to be my mission and my goal in the world, is really to share that transdisciplinary and holistic perspective that incorporates a number of different theoretical perspectives into the work that I do.